Hey, Konstantin's here. I'm a full stack developer, and in this video I will continue working on my amazing progressive web application with Solid.js and Firebase services. Let's start from my plan for today. My plan is mostly refactoring. I'm going to refactor onMount hooks, and I'd like to fix the color of OOF and subscribe buttons, because on mobiles they are actually blue and not white as I would expect. I'd like to refactor calculateMoonPhases cloud function as well, because yeah, it has some room for improvement definitely. And very interesting experiment. I'm going to use Typosaurus as a Firestore access layer. Let me show you the tweet of Sasha, who is building this project. This project is a database access layer for Firebase Firestore. It's very strictly typed, and it's actually built around TypeScript and TypeScript types. So it actually enhances the Firestore Firebase Firestore SDK, and it would be a nice improvement for my project. So let me start from the easiest part and yeah, switch to Typosaurus later on. Let's start from refactoring onMount. I will now search for onMount use, because yeah, I know I misuse it sometimes. For instance, here for the app component I have 3 onMount handlers. I think I can refactor them. I think I can do better. So I will just move some code to the first one and just give some comment here. Firebase of state change handler. Okay, so I can remove one, and I can actually move this code to the first onMount handler as well. Let me just add a comment here. Okay, let me check what this function does. Okay, it's not a function, it's a signal. Good. Okay, this is the current moon phase. Visualize current moon phase, yeah, something like this. So yeah, I think I should be good. And here I just refresh the date, and I think we can call it a bit differently. Let me see, calculate dates maybe, or something like this. Calculate dates would be more precise name for this refresh function. Calculate dates. Okay, calculate dates. So we now know that first we calculate dates, then we set interval to perform dates recalculation every 1 minute, and then we assign auth state change for authentication, for user authentication, and then we visualize the moon, the SVG of the moon. So yeah, let's test the changes. Let's test the changes. The console log should be empty. I will now clear the application cache just to make sure. Yeah, failed to execute subscribe. Some issue sometimes happens when you first run the application. I will work on it later on because it happens just suddenly and accidentally. Let me try to sign to the emulator authentication suite, create a new account. Yeah, it's a little bit slow today. Add new account, auto generate information, sign in, and subscribe. Refresh the page, reload the page, and we see that we are subscribed. We can unsubscribe, reload the page, we are unsubscribes. Good. And all the dates are working, the moon visualized, and the dates are calculated. Everything is good. Let me continue with other stuff for today. I had an issue on mobiles actually, and it's hard to reproduce here on desktop. This subscribe label here is like a blue, like a link, and yeah, I will just explicitly set the color for the button span. So okay, let me find a, yeah, I will set it here, color for the button. Yeah, just copy and set it for span as well, because sometimes some colors can be overwritten. I don't want to allow that, so let me just refresh the page and hope that it fixed the color of the button label on mobiles. I will check it later, test on my mobile device and see if it really fixed the issue. If not, I will find another solution later or in another video. Let's continue. Now I'd like to refactor calculateMoonPhases cloud function. Let's go to the functions subproject here, open the main index file, index module, and find the calculateMoonPhases function. So here you see some conditions which can be improved. I think we can actually move these two conditions inside the isMoonDayClose function. So let me do it. Okay, I'll just put it here. So if full moon, not full moon actually, but this moon variable is null, or it is not a date, okay, let me just rename the variable here. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Moon date, yes, cool. If it's null or is not a date, then we can just remove return false. Yeah, sometimes it can happen, but yeah, very rarely. I don't know. I'm not sure how the Loon library works under the hood, so I need to add these checks just in case if anything goes wrong. So if moon date is null or if it's not a date, we just return false, meaning that the moon date is not close. We can remove these conditions from here because they are already implemented inside the isMoonDayClose function. I can save the file. Yeah, I just reformatted the logic here. And what I also want to do is I want to create a variable message. Okay, and I want to assign the message string to this variable and use the message variable for the logging. And actually, if we have an issue here, we would probably also log the message, the success message. We should not do that. We should log the success message only when we finish the processing. So really, all good. It's over optimization. Sorry, it's too much. I don't want the code would be ideal. It would be boring. I need some stuff to improve later on, so let's keep it here. I will explain to you. So if an exception is fired, occurs here, we won't go to this line anyway. So I should not be afraid of displaying a success message if anything fails before this line. So it won't get to this line anyway. So now I think we refactored the calculateMoonPhases function as planned. Good. Now we can try to rebuild the function project. I will just open a new terminal session, switch to functions folder, and run build for this sub-project. Let's wait for a few seconds. I think it's pretty quick. Yes, it is. So everything is good here. We can continue with other planned stuff. And the most exciting part of today's video is integrating Typosaurus library into our code. So let me go to Sasha's tweet where he explained all the advantages, at least most of the advantages of his library. And he has some GIF here explaining with examples. You may read it here if you want. But I already decided to try it out. So I will just go to the documentation of this project. And first of all, I will go to GitHub page. Like this project, because I like projects which I use to support the authors. And I actually encourage you to do the same, because for us, for open source developers, it's very important to get some, credits, get some your gratefulness. So it actually motivates us to develop more stuff. So this is the project page, and to install Typosaurus, I won't use this command because I already have Firebase and Firebase admin installed. So I will just cancel building here, clear the console, and just npm install Typosaurus. Next, I will need to do something else. Let me come back to the documentation page and follow the official instructions, get started stuff. So install Typosaurus. I now need to adjust the compiler options for TypeScript, because this library is built on top of the TypeScript typing system and uses the top-notch features of TypeScript. So we will just copy these settings and check. Maybe we can adjust our local settings of our project. Let's see. So we have some compiler options here. Maybe we only need, we have strict here actually, so we don't need it. What else? No unchecked. I think this stuff can go to the bottom. Okay. can go to the bottom, and it should be it, pretty much it. Let's see what else we need. No, we don't need anything. I will try to build the project just in case. npm run build watch to see that the existing code supports the settings I just added. Okay, it's just a spot check, so everything is working, which is fine, which is perfect. We can continue then. Okay, I will close unnecessary stuff. Here I can close functions project and open the main project code, the core, and Firebase. Here I have Firestore subfolder with some init logic and with some code which is actually working with VCM tokens collection. So I'm going to refactor it to use Typosaurus. For that, I need to update this stuff. Let's see. Let me start from following Sasha's instructions here. Okay, so we need to kind of instruct the library what types, what models we are using, define some fields, and yeah, name the objects. Let me copy this stuff, not everything, just I think for me, because I have only one collection, it should be enough to copy just part of it. Okay, let me check what else we can do with it. Okay, schema, it's fine. And where should I pass the Firebase object, the Firebase init object? I will add it later. Let's see. I will start from adding Typosaurus here in the init. Or better to create a new module for that. db ts. Let's keep it separate. Yeah, some typos here from givens here that you're gonna use to access Firestore. Okay, perfect. I don't need it here because I know what it is about. I can remove stuff from here. Let me just keep order and remove users. I have only VCM tokens, so I can define VCM tokens interface with just one key, UID string. Okay, what else? Okay, alright, I'm going to remove it from here just to keep it clean. VCM tokens here, and also VCM tokens here. Okay, I think this should be more or less fine. I just want to know where should I pass the Firebase object, which I actually get from the initialization. Let's read the docs more and see. Okay, yes. Okay, good, perfect. Yeah, type script config, define schema, reading data. Okay. VDB, maybe it uses Firebase Firestore under the hood implicitly. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe best practices will show us some stuff. Field initialization, something like this. I don't know. I'm just trying to find a place where I can pass the Firebase object to the scheme. Maybe I just don't need it. I don't know, not sure. I think I need it. I still need it. Yeah, because I have some initialization options which I need to pass. Actually, it's not default configuration. You see, I have emulation for local Firestore emulator here, so I need actually to be able to pass Firestore object to the client. Okay, let's advantages, upgradability. Let me search. You need something like this. Maybe, yes, initialize app. Yeah, admin. Let's see how to post DB, your DB location, your init location. Okay, let's assume that when we actually, yeah, that's strange. I mean, yeah, I need to ask Sasha later on. Yeah, Sasha suggests us importing the initializing logic to the top. Let's try to import the logic from the init. Yeah, import all. How to import it? Init. I think this way. Yeah, should be okay. Yeah, so if I init here, it should work, and I can actually use DB object from inside of the my database tokens access layer. So what I have here, I have set document method here, I have delete document, and I have get document methods here. So I can just use Sasha's ropers for this quick start. Reading data. First thing what I need is reading data. Yeah, or setting data, actually. Setting data, setting document. Okay, and writing data. This is the add method, and I need set method. So I will just use this set stuff and pass UID the same way. And here is the ID, and DB should be imported to this document. Okay, yeah, and the collection is named VCM tokens. Okay, what it complains about here, let me check, is not assignable to the parameter of type ID VCM tokens. Type string is not assignable. Well, okay, typed IDs. Account ID, creating ID, Sasha ID, create a new random ID, ID type. Can we set ID type actually? Accounts ID. Okay, schema. How can I set the random custom ID actually? Types are ID, scheme ID. Yeah, let me check. If I just do it this strange way, schema, VCM tokens and ID, what would happen? Actually, doesn't exist. Of course it doesn't. Schema, organization, ID, because yeah, I need to use ID. Camel case, yeah, it should work. UID, string undefined is not assignable to type string. Of course it's not. Okay, if I change it. Okay, how can I improve that? Let me comment out the previous code. How can I improve the type here? UID cannot be. Okay, let's allow undefined here. Yeah, because the library typosaurus will actually convert undefined to null, but actually, to be honest, it's not possible to have ID undefined here because I only register token when the authentication is not null, as far as I remember. Let's see. I can continue with refactoring the rest. So I have deletion logic here, and I'm going to go to writing data remove. Use remove by ID. Okay. They'll use remove by ID here. And current token. I think I do it a little bit wrong with IDs, but at least it will allow me to start from something, and later I will be able to improve if it works. Okay, removed. I can actually remove the Firestore parameter from here. I don't need it because it's passed through the DB object, but I need to check that, so let me continue refactoring stuff. Yeah, how to get a document, how to read a document. Okay, I can read the document this way. I'll just how to check if it exists. Does Sasha has a method for checking whether it exists or not? Query many real time. No. Yeah, I think it makes sense to add this exist method later on. I will maybe suggest in the issue queue. For now it's okay. I can just use get and check if it's null or not. So let me use VCM collection, VCM tokens, current token, current. I'm not that good with TypeScript, to be honest, so if you guys can suggest a better solution for the ID of VCM tokens collection, just let me know. Yep. And this document can be called token, just token, okay? Doesn't matter how it's called here, it's just a temporary. And so I will just check if it's null, token is null, and if it's actually, I can actually check it, respond with if it's null or not here. Return. Okay, something like this should work actually. So if it's not null, we respond with true. If it's null, we respond with false. And false would mean that token is not yet registered. Or if any error happens, we just display a message and return false. Now I'm gonna try running this logic and see if this library actually access my local emulator suite instead of accessing Firebase Firestore services, remote Firebase Firestore services. For that, I'm gonna rerun the emulator suite because it will actually remove all the database, Firebase Firestore database records and collections, all the documents. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, what's good about this approach is that you can define all the fields you are using, and your Firebase Firestore access layer would be very strictly typed, which would actually minimize the probability of your stupid mistake. So I think it's a good move overall, and the library is really tiny, so yeah, it's just a good abstraction for usability, for developer experience. So yeah, and it does a lot of stuff under the hood, by the way, to minimize my mistakes as a developer, as a poor TypeScript developer, to be precise. Let me check what I have here. I'm going to clear the application state, clear site data, reload the app. Yeah, reload one more time. I check console. I'm gonna sign in, create a new user here, generate, and I'm going to subscribe. No messages in the console, no messages in the, I think, emulator suite is all good. I'm going to check the emulator Firestore, the Firestore database, what actually happening inside of this database. So I have VCM tokens, I have the same ID structure here, and I have UID added. So all good. Let me try to unsubscribe and check the database again. Yeah, you see that Firebase Firestore doesn't have the token anymore because we just deleted it. And if I reload the page, I actually check the Firebase Firestore database and try to fetch the token by its ID. And if I don't find it, just display subscribe button here. But if I subscribe and reload the page, consequently I will see the unsubscribe button here, meaning that the get method also working. So I can actually now refactor my database access layer even further, removing Firestore stuff from here. Okay. Firestore parameter here and make it even better. So I will now restart building to check the usage and actually improve. Okay, here subscription logic, I can just remove Firestore param here, and also remove Firestore param from here and from here. Can save the file to remove unused imports and reformat this module. And I can also, actually I don't need to pass auth object, the entire auth object here. I can just pass user ID, right? So I can actually refactor it as well. Save this file and just pass user ID here. Let me just check what I have here. Gonna remove it. Yeah, you see registered token has auth object passed. I don't need it here. I can actually either use it from the direct import here, or I can actually pass UID. I would prefer passing UID because it's easier to test kind of state stateless functions. In this particular case, it's not stateless, but it would be easier to test without using authentication object under the hood. So string, yeah, it would be UID, and UID here will be this. Yep. Let me just import of object. I think I need to import it a little bit different. It's already imported, I think. Yes, it's already imported. Good. I can just use it here. And yeah, UID string or undefined if user is not authenticated, and I can actually use this tab here. I remove the code which I don't need anymore. I have an abstraction layer on top of the Firebase Firestore SDK, and I can remove the redundant stuff. I don't need it anymore here. So yeah, I think I'm more or less good in terms of refactoring this particular module. And here it's also much better. Okay, request token here. Yeah, just checking if anything remaining. Let me just rerun the building process and check the types. It's all good. And I can actually reload the application, clear the storage, clear the cookies, everything, and try to run the app from the ground up. Let's try the normal sequence. Sign in first. Then let me check the database. We actually have a document here. Then we are doing something wrong, because we need to display that we are subscribed here. This is what I was afraid of, actually. Okay, let me check the logic here and see. Yeah, removing, it's probably here. Here is the issue. Okay, let me just console log the token. Maybe I did something wrong. And it's null. Okay, and what's the token actually? Let's compare the tokens. Current token with the token in the database. Maybe it's a different one. Okay, you see dupe, and it's different here, I think. Yeah, it's really different. So I think it's okay. What if I just cleared all the data in the Firebase Firestore emulator suite? Reload the app. Try to subscribe again. Yeah, you see dupe, the new token, and you see unsubscribe button here, which is what's expected. If I unsubscribe, the database should be empty. Yes. You can subscribe again. The token should be the same. The ID, user ID, this should be the same. So yeah, but when I clear the application storage, the token will be new. That's why it should create a new document in the VCM tokens collection to subscribe, so it won't be able to use the old one. So I think it's working as expected, and it's really nice. I mean, the database access logic here is really nice. The only thing I have here which I would like to improve later on is setting the type explicitly here. So I think I can improve it somehow. Maybe ask Sasha in the issue queue, but for now I like it more than the SDK stuff provided by the Firebase Firestore SDK. So yeah, and it's not a lot of code here, just a couple of lines. So all good. I can continue working on my application next time. For now, let me just summarize what I did. I refactored onMount hooks of provided by Solid.js and which I used to assign onMount handlers. And I had 3 handlers. Instead of 3, I just refactored it to 1, which is also an improvement, I think. And I actually tried to fix the color of the button label at the bottom of the application. I refactored calculateMoonPhases function and made it a little bit cleaner. And I also used Typozoro's Firestore database access layer instead of direct SDK calls. And I made my database access layer a little bit more, fault tolerant because of the strict typing. So I think, yeah, everything here is actually contributes to a better code state, and I think I will be able to improve it later on even further. For now, I'm good. Thank you very much for your time. See you next time.